Welcome back to the West Ham preview show, the Premier League countdown show, whatever you want to call it. Recording this on the 30th of, about to say 30th of May, 30th of July, and you'll see this video on the 3rd of August, so any news that I've missed between then, that's why. And we're talking about Manchester United, but if you want to know, if you want me to talk about Rasmus Højlund, go check out my Monday show. The West Ham fans Premier League roundup. I'll talk more about Højlund on there. But yeah, listen. Man United have signed Onana, Højlund, and Mount, from what I remember. Have they signed anyone else? I don't remember. But Ten Hag had his first season, won the Carabao Cup, and came third. Could have been in the title race just about, probably a bit too soon, and got into an FA Cup final and lost to Manchester City. In my opinion, they weren't good enough in that final. They gave it a go, but they didn't play like it was a cup final, nor did they play like it was a derby. But Ten Hag is a good manager. It's not playing the football I expect him to play. I expected him to go a bit more Dutch, for a lack of a better phrase, and that explains that he's not going to play that much like complete possession football because of him buying someone like Mason Mount, who wasn't a need, in my opinion. But at the same time, if he's available, you get him. He's not an awful player, but he is kind of overrated. At the same time, getting a striker like Højlund, I've never watched. I think he's a tall, lanky man, and he sounds like a B-Tech Haaland, and he's from Scandinavia. That is literally all I know about him. They have no excuse to not get the Amrabat deal over the line either. And they're really upgraded on the positions they have. Someone like Lindelof and Luke Shaw coming in as centre-backs when it's needed, when Martinez and Varane are out. They've performed well when they've come in, and they built a real good spine with Martinez, Varane, and Casemiro. They went a long time with them three playing together unbeaten, but also they got battered by Liverpool as a three, but Ten Hag got that whole thing wrong. Marcus Rashford, the purple patch merchant, got a new contract. Fair enough. He's going to score the most goals in their attack. But he'll probably do that again. He'll probably have a good purple patch and then go missing again, and then people wouldn't want to talk about the times where he doesn't score, but only talk about the times where he does score. Bruno Fernandes, probably the most overrated player I've ever seen in my life. The guy, Ten Hag has definitely improved him, don't get me wrong, because if you decreased over the time where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has played you, you're probably a really awful player. Bruno Fernandes is not an awful player. But he's just a passion merchant, and he's a guy who can strike the ball really well. But I wouldn't, as a midfielder, I wouldn't call him an amazing passer that is required of a midfielder. Jadon Sancho, underperformed so far. I like watching Sancho as a player. I want him to do well because these are the kind of players that I like. But at the same time, needs to get it together. He's a combination player. He doesn't. Who's he going to combine with in that Man United team? But he's been playing false nine in pre-season. I watched the Arsenal game that they played. I haven't watched any other game that Man United have played in pre-season. And yeah, they played really well. I feel like they're gonna really challenge some big teams next year. And if they get all the players that they want, in my opinion, they're probably maybe a backup centre-back away or a more consistent winger away from really challenging for the league. But that also puts too much pressure on someone like Rasmus Højlund, who you need to get goals through the middle. Someone like Scott McTominay will probably go. Someone like Fred will probably go. for them to get Amrabat, because that's what's been put out there. And listen, Anthony had his first season at Man United, and he's never played in the Premier League before. He moved from a different country, etc. as well. So we're gonna find out whether he's really the real deal or not. And I don't put the whole price tags thing on people, unless I'm just really running an agenda. I don't really run agendas, to be fair. But to be honest, it's not a price tag thing in football anymore, because everyone is overpriced. Like, it's rare that you find a gem. Not everyone does the Brighton thing and goes and kidnap in South America and just for like 2 million. But give Anthony a chance this season, and we'll see what he's about. It seems like a really good footballer. But I think Ten Hag had an original style in his head. He wanted to play the Ajax style, and then realised it might not work for him with that squad in the Premier League. So he changed a little bit. But regardless, he requires pressing. I remember one of his first interviews at Manchester United, he even said, whether we're playing a low block or whether we're going high up the pitch, I require pressing. That pressing's a requirement. And that's fair enough. And I like that. I like seeing teams press. It's good to see how a team plays out of it. Just to watch as a neutral, and having the experience of Varane and Casemiro will help them in the Champions League. And Luke Shaw came out, said something that proved how the attitude that he has is like, when Man United has a big club and you got to win a Champions, you got to go for like the Champions League and the Premier League, and he said that on like Sky Sports or something like after the season ended. And it just proves that, as much as I don't rate Luke Shaw as like a left back that can take you to a title, for example, it proves where he wants to be, and it's a good attitude. It's you're saying all the right things. It's just, are you the right player to be saying all these things? And someone like Aaron Wan-Bissaka revived his career a little bit. Was a bit forgotten when Dalot started the season very well, but when you're going to Anfield or the Etihad or any hard away day, you're going to need an Aaron Wan-Bissaka, someone else. A solid defender, a rough tackler, makes people confused 1v1. James Maddison put it perfectly. When people come up against Wan-Bissaka, they run out of things to do 1v1. And I'm sure, like, I don't think, I can probably guarantee, without even watching a Man United training session, no one will get past Wan-Bissaka. Maybe not good enough on the ball, I agree. But at the same time, you're going to need solid defenders. Someone like Malacia has good squad depth. Maguire, not good enough for Man United, not good enough for anyone. They probably are a backup centre-back and consistent winger away from really challenging the league. And if they do get an Amrabat, I think they could put off a small title challenge. But when I mean a small title challenge, I mean a bit further from what they did the season just gone. I don't think they'll do what Liverpool do. I think them and Arsenal would be just behind Liverpool and Manchester City. But it'll be interesting to see what other kinds of business they will do. And I'm looking forward to it in the transfer window, because my team ain't doing anything, so I'm just watching what other teams do. But anyway, make sure to leave a like on the video, guys, and subscribe if you're new. Social media's up in the description if you want to follow me, and the email for the inquiries. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.